Imagine staring at, like, a completely familiar office carpet. You're standing under the exact same fluorescent lights you stand under every single day.
Right, just walking past the exact same gray cubicles.
Exactly. But then you look up, and every single person sitting at those desks is a total stranger.
Oh man, that's an actual nightmare.
Right. And you haven't switched dimensions, you haven't been teleported, you literally just stepped off the elevator onto the wrong floor.
But for those first few minutes, your brain genuinely believes you have just, like, ceased to exist in your own reality.
It is so bizarre. Welcome to Just Johnny and Sophie. Today, we are entirely focused on our friend Maya because, well, Maya just had a week.
Oh, she had a week, let me tell you.
Yeah, and I don't mean a catastrophic, life-altering week. I mean, she had a week where every single day, something small, something perfectly annoying just went wrong.
Right, 7 days, 7 different micro disasters.
Yeah.
It's the kind of stretch that makes you wonder if the universe is just lightly trolling you, you know? Like, if you ever had one of those weeks. Because I feel like it's not the macro level crises that break us. It's the microscopic paper cuts to our daily routines.
Oh, 100%. And we actually have all the source material for this because Maya was texting us the entire time.
Oh yeah, the live updates were incredible.
They really were. And then she gave us the full debrief on Sunday with the rest of the friend group. Marcus, Lily, and Dan.
Right, the peanut gallery.
Exactly. So our mission today is to completely unpack the anatomy of a perfectly annoying week. We're going to track Maya's timeline of chaos, and then we're going to examine the hilarious and honestly very telling ways our friends reacted to this story.
Yeah, because how your friends respond to your bad week really exposes the machinery behind, like, our social dynamics.
It totally does.
And to properly track the timeline of Maya's week, I think we should introduce a vital English expression right at the top.
Oh, good call.
The phrase is to go downhill. So when we say a situation starts to go downhill, we mean it gets progressively worse over time. You lose momentum, you lose control, and gravity just kind of takes over.
And gravity absolutely took the wheel for Maya.
Oh, big time.
So let's look at the baseline. Monday. Her alarm doesn't go off. She's 20 minutes late out the door, and then she spills coffee on herself on the bus.
A classic, terrible morning.
Right. Usually I'd look at that and say, okay, that's just a bad morning, you shake it off. But looking at the rest of the week, I feel like Monday chemically altered her.
Well, biologically speaking, it did. I mean, when your alarm fails and you wake up late, your body experiences this massive, immediate cortisol spike.
Wait, really? Just from a late alarm?
Oh, absolutely. You are flooded with stress hormones before your feet even hit the floor. So spilling the coffee on the bus isn't just, a physical inconvenience.
It's like piling onto the stress.
Exactly. It keeps that localized fight-or-flight response activated. She basically spent all of Monday marinating in low-grade adrenaline.
Wow. Which, honestly, perfectly sets the trap for Tuesday. Because Tuesday is where the modern digital age really flexes its ability to humiliate us.
Oh, no, the video call.
Yes, the video call. So Maya is on this massive work call. She's giving an update, and she has a technical glitch with her virtual background. The blur effect drops, and for exactly 3 seconds, her actual, incredibly messy room is totally exposed.
Like, how messy are we talking?
We're talking clothes on the chair, unmade bed, chaotic background, completely visible to all her coworkers before the filter finally kicks back in.
Oh, 3 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, in the grand scheme of a 24-hour day, 3 seconds is statistically a rounding error.
Right, it's nothing.
But in the context of professional vulnerability,
Yeah.
3 seconds is an eternity.
But why does the brain do that, though? Like, why does she spend the next 4 hours agonizing over a 3-second visual glitch? Surely her coworkers barely even registered it.
Because it's not about the visual, right? It's about the sudden drop of the professional facade.
No, interesting.
Yeah, evolutionarily, human beings are hypersensitive to their social standing within a group. So the brain doesn't register that the glitch was brief.
It just panics.
Exactly. The amygdala, the fear center just screams, the curtain fell, they saw the chaos, our status is compromised. She probably spent the rest of Tuesday internally scanning the virtual room, wondering, like, did the VP of marketing see my laundry?
That is so relatable, though. Okay, so if we follow the biology here, Tuesday's camera glitch kept her cortisol levels totally maxed out.
Oh, absolutely peaked.
Which completely reframes Wednesday for me. Let's look at Wednesday's disaster. It's the classic email blunder. Maya types out a crucial work email, hits send, and realizes she forgot to attach the document.
Ah, yes. A painful yet universally understood rite of passage.
Right, we've all been there. So she sends the quick follow-up, sorry about that, here's the attachment, hit send, and realizes she forgot the attachment again.
Oh, the double forget. That physically hurts my soul to even think about.
But wait, it gets worse. She has to send a third email to the exact same group, and this third email just says, please see attached.
Please tell me it was attached this time.
Thankfully, yes. This time, it actually was attached. Now, I used to think of a streak like this as like a line of dominoes. Monday knocks over Tuesday, Tuesday knocks over Wednesday.
Right, the domino effect.
Exactly. But that metaphor doesn't actually explain why she forgot the attachment twice. It's not a domino effect. It's like a computer running out of RAM.
Ooh, I like that analogy. Break that down for me.
Well, think about your laptop, right? If you have 50 tabs open, the whole system slows down and basic functions start crashing.
Yeah, totally.
So Monday opened a massive, heavy background application of stress with the late alarm. Tuesday opened another massive background process of social humiliation with the camera glitch.
And those tabs are still open.
Exactly. By Wednesday afternoon, she is trying to execute a super simple function attaching a PDF. But her mental CPU is at like 99% capacity dealing with the lingering unclosed tabs of Monday and Tuesday.
Wow.
Her working memory literally didn't have the processing power left to remember the file.
That is a remarkably accurate way to describe the cognitive load of stress. I mean, when cortisol lingers in your system, it actively impairs the prefrontal cortex.
Which is where memory lives.
Exactly. That's exactly where your working memory lives. She wasn't just having a clumsy moment. Her brain's RAM was genuinely tapped out. She was biologically compromised by the time she hit send on that first email.
Which brings up a really critical question. When your mental RAM is that depleted by Wednesday, do you just surrender? Like, at what point do you stop trying to fix the day and just accept that the week is cursed?
Honestly, you almost have to drop the resistance. Fighting the current of a bad week when your cognitive resources are that low just leads to further exhaustion.
Well, Maya definitely didn't have a choice in the matter because the universe was about to switch tactics entirely.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, she survives the digital failures of Wednesday only to walk right into Thursday. And Thursday moves us from cognitive overload into straight-up spatial disorientation. This is the scenario I mentioned at the start of the show.
The wrong floor incident.
Yes. Maya gets to work, takes the elevator, walks out to her cubicle area, and spends 4 solid minutes wandering around, deeply confused as to why absolutely nobody is saying good morning.
4 minutes is a long time.
It is. She doesn't recognize a single face. It took her 4 full minutes to realize she had gotten off on the floor right below hers.
Okay, I have a confession to make here.
Wait, really? Have you done this?
I have done this exact same thing.
Mm.
In an old office building, I walked onto the wrong floor, sat down at an empty desk that looked exactly like mine, and stayed there for 3 minutes before I realized my error.
No way. 3 minutes sitting down.
Yes, and I will fiercely argue that the wrong floor is the most heavily underrated disaster on this entire timeline. It is profoundly unsettling.
But explain the mechanics of that to me. Why is a spatial error like this so much weirder and more disorienting than an email error?
Oh.
With the email, her brain just lacked the RAM, right? But why does wandering around the wrong floor for 4 minutes feel like a terrifying episode of The Twilight Zone?
It comes down to a neuroscience concept called predictive processing.
Okay, predictive processing.
Our brains don't actually passively absorb the world through our eyes like a video camera.
Yeah.
That takes way too much energy. Instead, our brains essentially hallucinate our reality based on what we expect to see.
Wait, what?
Yeah, and then they just use our eyes to check for errors in that hallucination.
Hold on. So when Maya walks off the elevator, her brain is preloading the image of her coworkers.
Exactly. The architecture of the wrong floor is usually identical to the right floor. The carpet is the same, the lighting is the same, the cubicle layout is a match.
Oh, wow. So everything looks right on paper.
Right. So her brain's predictive model says, everything is normal, load the familiar reality. But the visual data coming in the faces of the actual people doesn't match the mental model. It throws a massive systemic error code.
That is wild.
For those 4 minutes, you aren't thinking, oh, I made a navigational error. Because the environment is so familiar, your brain concludes the world is broken or, I am a ghost.
That is incredibly eerie. She wasn't just confused, her brain was glitching out, trying to reconcile 2 conflicting realities. No wonder she felt completely drained by Thursday night.
The downhill momentum was reaching terminal velocity.
Which brings us to Friday, the grand finale of the work week. She finally makes it home. She gets to her apartment door, digs through her bag, and realizes she has locked her keys inside.
Oh, no.
She is completely locked out.
The Friday lockout. I mean, what a classic cinematic conclusion to a downward spiral.
She calls the property manager to bring the spare key, and they tell her it's going to be a 40-minute wait. So Maya just physically collapses. She sits down on the ground in the hallway, totally defeated. The RAM is gone. The predictive processing is fried. She's just sitting on the floor.
Yeah, she surrendered.
But here is the pivot. This is why Friday is the most crucial piece of the puzzle. Because while she was sitting there on the ground, she called me.
Oh. And how did that go?
We ended up talking for 45 minutes. And instead of it being this miserable, isolating disaster, it was actually a really wonderful moment. We hadn't caught up in weeks.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we laughed, we vented, we talked about everything. By the time the property manager showed up, Maya was actually a little disappointed the conversation had to end.
That completely flips the narrative of the week. And actually, it perfectly sets up two of the most essential English phrases you can use when talking about adversity.
Oh, I love a good vocab lesson here.
The first is, at least. We use at least to intentionally isolate a positive element inside a negative situation. Maya was locked out of her apartment, yes, but at least she got to catch up with a friend.
I use at least constantly. It's basically a survival mechanism.
Totally. And that leads right into the second phrase, silver lining.
Ah, yes.
The silver lining is the positive aspect or the unexpected benefit of a bad situation. The idiom comes from the visual of a dark, menacing rain cloud. If the sun is behind it, the edges of the dark cloud glow with a bright silver light.
That's such a great visual. So Maya's lockout was the dark cloud, but the impromptu phone call was the silver lining.
Exactly.
Well, the silver lining totally neutralized the week's bad energy, and you can see the proof of that in what happened the very next day. Saturday, I asked Maya, so what went wrong on Saturday? And she looked at me blankly and said, nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Saturday was perfectly fine. Zero disasters. No spilled coffee, no glitches, no wrong floors. She had survived the gauntlet, and reality returned to normal.
The storm broke. The downhill trajectory finally flattened out into a peaceful weekend.
Which perfectly sets the stage for Sunday, because Sunday evening, the whole friend group gets together for dinner. Marcus, Lily, Dan, Maya, and the two of us.
The dinner party.
Maya holds court. She tells the entire story of her week, chronologically, from the Monday alarm to the Friday lockout. And by this point, she has enough distance from the stress that she's laughing about it.
That's the best feeling.
The whole table is laughing. She finishes the timeline, takes a sip of her drink, shrugs, and delivers this absolute masterpiece of a summary. She says, it was actually kind of a week.
Kind of a week. That is a brilliant piece of phrasing. You know, it reminds me of Dan.
Oh, yeah, how so?
Whenever Dan has a phenomenal, deeply successful day, he never uses hyperbole. He never says, I am on top of the world. He just nods quietly and says, it was a good day.
That is so damn.
Right.
Yeah.
And Maya's, it was kind of a week, is the exact inverse of that. It is a masterclass in understatement.
It really is. It acknowledges the chaos without letting the chaos win. But the reactions from the rest of the tale, the peanut gallery, were a fascinating psychological case study.
Oh, I bet. Because instead of anyone just saying, wow, Maya, that sounds exhausting, I'm sorry, our friends immediately absorbed her story and metabolized it through their own worldviews.
Typical. Let's look at the data.
Yeah.
Who spoke first?
Marcus.
Obviously.
Obviously, Marcus.
Marcus immediately leans in, waves his hand dismissively, and tries to one-up her. He says, this is nothing. I once had a month exactly like this.
The reflexive one-up. Unbelievable. And let me guess. The group's reaction.
Complete silence.
Yeah.
Nobody asked him to elaborate. He threw the bait out there, fully expecting us to gasp and say, a whole month, tell us, Marcus. And the entire table just let the comment die in the air.
That is absolute poetic justice.
But then we get to Lily. Lily listens to this week of absurd, random bad luck, the coffee, the glitch, the wrong floor, and she says, with 100% sincerity, I would have identified the pattern by Tuesday and course corrected.
Wow. That is the most fundamentally Lily response I have ever heard in my life. Isn't it? Hold on, I have to challenge her entire premise here. Is life really a spreadsheet? How do you course correct a virtual background glitch or forgetting an attachment?
You can't.
Exactly. You can't optimize your way out of random statistical chaos. It sounded so arrogant to me in the moment.
It does sound arrogant, but psychologically, Lily's reaction is actually a panic response. It's a defense mechanism called the illusion of control.
Wait, you're saying Lily was panicking?
Subconsciously, yes. I mean, when Lily hears about random chaos striking someone she cares about, it terrifies her because it means random chaos could strike her.
Oh, wow.
By claiming she could have course corrected, she is comforting herself. She is basically building a mental fortress, telling herself that wouldn't happen to me because I am vigilant and I am in charge of my reality.
That is
It
fascinating.
is far more comforting for her to believe she can outsmart a bad week than to accept that sometimes the universe just decides to break your software.
So she's not critiquing Maya, she's soothing her own anxiety about the unpredictability of life.
Precisely.
Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense for Lily. But then we have the grand finale of reactions, which is Dan.
Oh, Dan. What did he do?
Dan sits there, processes the entire narrative, and then provides completely unsolicited ratings for each day's disaster level on a scale out of 10.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Nobody asked for a rubric, he just started assigning grades.
I love Dan's analytical brain. Please walk me through the scores he handed out.
Okay, here is Dan's official ruling. He gave Monday a 4, Tuesday a 6, Wednesday a 7, Thursday a 3, and Friday an 8.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. We need to immediately address his score for Thursday. A 3 for wandering around the wrong floor. That is criminally inaccurate.
Thank you, I completely agree.
As we just established with the predictive processing breakdown, Thursday is easily an 8.5. The sheer terrifying existential dread of not recognizing your own workplace is significantly worse than sending a clumsy email, which he gave a 7.
Right. He's absolutely grading on logistics, not emotions. Friday gets an 8 because a physical lockout is a tangible problem with the timer attached to it.
Dan's methodology is entirely skewed toward tangible inconveniences, and he is completely ignoring the psychological damage of spatial disorientation.
Completely ignoring it. But look at this whole pattern of our friends, right? Marcus minimized it, Lily tried to solve it, and Dan categorized it into a spreadsheet. Why do friends do this?
It's a great question.
Like, when someone we love shares a vulnerable, frustrating story, why do we feel the overwhelming need to rate it, fix it, or one-up it? Why is it so hard to just look at them and say, wow, that sucks?
Because holding space for someone else's frustration without trying to change it is incredibly difficult on a biological level.
Biology again.
Yep. When a friend tells you a story about their distress, your empathy literally triggers a mild stress response in your own nervous system. Your heart rate might elevate slightly, your brain registers discomfort.
Wait, stop right there. Are you saying empathy is actually selfish in this scenario? That Marcus, Lily, and Dan are minimizing Maya's pain just to lower their own heart rates? That feels incredibly cynical. I mean, isn't it possible Lily just genuinely thinks her advice is helpful?
Well, it's not malicious selfishness. It's biological self-regulation. Yes, Lily genuinely wants to help Maya, but the urgency to provide that help stems from Lily's own discomfort with the unresolved tension in the room.
Oh, I see.
They aren't trying to hurt Maya. They are just using their own preferred tools to resolve the ambient stress. Marcus uses perspective. It could be worse.
Yeah.
Lily uses strategy, here's the protocol. Dan uses data, let's quantify the threat.
Wow.
They're all just desperately trying to put the chaos back into a neat little box so the group can feel safe again.
That completely reframes the entire dinner for me. They were all just reacting to the residual blast radius of Maya's bad week.
Exactly.
But ultimately, Maya didn't need any of their tools. Her own summary was the only one that mattered. It was kind of a week, because she wasn't looking for a solution or a rating. She was looking for connection.
Yeah, she's just sharing her experience.
Right. She took this string of exhausting cortisol-soaked days and she alchemized them into a story to share over drinks. And honestly, I think that shared storytelling is the true value of these minor daily disasters.
I couldn't agree more. The localized stress of the missed alarm or the wrong floor will eventually fade from her memory. But the story of the group sitting around debating the disaster scale of an email versus a lockout, that becomes a permanent part of your shared history.
It really does. And speaking of shared history and silver linings, Maya's silver lining this week was being able to call a friend while sitting on the floor outside her apartment. We want to be your silver lining too.
Absolutely.
If you are having one of those stretches where your mental RAM is crashing and everything is going downhill, come hang out with us. Make sure you subscribe to the show. We are here providing real conversations, real English, every single day.
Well, technically, our new episodes drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But we'll be here.
We will be here. And I actually have a challenge for you listening right now. Sometime this week, try to actively use the phrase silver lining in your own life. Find the bright spot in a dark cloud and name it out loud.
That is an excellent challenge to carry through the week. And, looking ahead to our schedule, I want to briefly mention what we have planned for Wednesday.
Oh, yes, tell them.
We are going to be breaking down 7 things people believe about learning English that are completely, demonstrably false.
Mm.
The entire friend group gets involved in this one, and every single myth is attached to a pretty fantastic story. So you won't want to miss Wednesday's conversation.
I cannot wait to get into those myths. But before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a final thought, something for you to just mull over on your commute or while you're making dinner.
Let's hear it.
Think back to Maya's Saturday. Saturday was perfectly fine. It was a completely normal day. Zero disasters, zero glitches, zero stress. And therefore, it was entirely forgettable. Why are our human brains wired to vividly, permanently remember the 3 seconds our messy room was caught on a camera, but we completely delete the 24 hours of perfect, uninterrupted peace that immediately followed?
It's a fundamental flaw in the human operating system, isn't it?
It really is. We hold on to the chaos and let go of the calm. Think about that the next time you have a 3-second disaster. Let the chaos go. We'll catch you on Wednesday.